In Focus tonight here on Newsnight, and in focus is this. India's Sagar initiative is in focus tonight. Joining us for a discussion is G. Parthasarathy, former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan and well-known strategic affairs expert, is joining us, and Vice Admiral retired Shekhar Sinha, former Chief of the Integrated Defence Staff, is also with us. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll start with you, Ambassador Parthasarathy. India's development cooperation is marked by the core values of respect, diversity, care for the future and sustainable development. That's what the Prime Minister said. This is what a responsible power would do, isn't it, in the Indian Ocean region? Put that into context for us, sir.
Well, let me put it this way. There is certainly the fact that a huge portion of the world's oil supplies goes through the Indian Ocean.
Yes.
From the Straits of Hormuz. So I think ensuring the security of those oil supplies is really for the prosperity of this entire region. Now, the region is also marked by a large number of rivalries, instability, say, caused between Iran and its Arab neighbors like Saudi Arabia. There have been problems in Yemen. So all this is taking place around that region. And the most interesting part of it is the move in of the Chinese. The Chinese are developing facilities all around. They have a facility in a naval base at Djibouti. And they are trying to take control largely in strategic terms of this region.
Okay.
Obviously, that has its serious implications for us. And therefore, we are developing a strategy in cooperation mostly with the littoral countries,
yes,
to see that this remains a zone of peace, a zone for cooperation. But at the same time, we are also, for the first time, bringing in a more structured thing with what we call as the Quad.
Yes, indeed.
Which is really the United States, Australia, Japan, and India.
Yes, indeed.
We will now be cooperating to ensure the security of the sea lanes. That is the effort. But I think more importantly, in my view, we should bring in important regional powers in the Indian Ocean and the Straits of Malacca. And by that I mean Vietnam and Indonesia.
All right.
So I think we are moving in that direction.
We seem to, yes,
so
indeed.
that the oil supplies of the world are properly guarded, and that no external powers sorts of dominates this. The Chinese have got a base in, as I said, Djibouti. They are working with the Iranians, and most important, they have access at the Pakistani port of Gwadar. These are Pakistan. China is now supplying a huge amount of naval equipment to Pakistan, including submarines and frigates. So I think we will be working in cooperation. We want the sea lanes to be protected. More important, this is the Hind Mahasagar. Everybody calls it the Indian Ocean. And it is the
Hind Mahasagar.
India is at the middle of it. Yes, I'm at Hind Mahasagar.
Fair enough. Yes.
That's about it. So I think this is the most crucial security problem issue we have to ensure this sea lanes, their security. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of it. The Navy is now getting active in the Andaman and Nicobars. I think that needs redevelopment.
Indeed.
But the Navy and our maritime forces are going to come more into focus. Because
let's bring in a naval perspective with Admiral Shekhar Sinha. Admiral Sinha, the Maritime Capability Perspective Plan had seen, the Navy have about 200 vessels by 2027. How important is the naval presence in the Indian Ocean region? As Ambassador Parthasarathy was saying, that we have been developing also our presence in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands.
Thank you for getting me on this program.
Yes.
In addition to what Ambassador Parthasarathy said, there are sea lanes of communication which run from South America towards Sri Lanka and into Malacca Strait. Similarly, there are sea lanes of communication running from Africa, coming up to Sri Lanka and off to Malacca. As you know that even the South American countries, particularly Venezuela, and in the African continent, there are countries who supply a lot of oil to all over the world, specifically China. What is less known is that 58% of China's copper requirement is met from South America, from Peru and Chile, and all that is traversing on the Indian Ocean. So it is for us to make sure that sea lanes of communication are guarded, and Mauritius is a very important part. We have had a very good relation with Mauritius historically, and particularly the Navy. We have been assisting them in their EEZ patrolling. We have been, the first ship exported from India to any country is that from GRSC to Mauritius. As the ambassador said, Chinese are trying very hard.
Yes.
It is one of their strategy that they get the neighbors of India in their clutches by the what is called the economic coercion. So you can see that in Sri Lanka, you see this in Maldives. After the change of government, there has been a big change in Maldives, President Soli's government. So therefore, there is a time has come for India, and the Mauritius projects have been completed very quickly, which is
Indeed,
very
yes.
unlike the other projects.
Yes.
That is one. Another very important place going to be is the port of Gwadar,
Okay.
which is run by, given to Pakistan, but the operations are with the Chinese. Recently, there is an agreement likely to be signed between Iran and China, as the ambassador mentioned. The important part that I see is that Bandar is Zask. There is a port called Zask which has to be developed and run by the Chinese for 30 years. So
Okay.
I guess that the Chinese are getting a sense that maybe Pakistan, in case they falter because of problems in Balochistan, if they falter on Gwadar, an alternate is Zask, which is right on top of the narrowest part of the Straits of Hormuz. So I think all in all there is a strategy of our adversaries in collusion with Pakistan, and we have to make sure that what we are doing now we should continue to do and do even more.
Ambassador Parthasarathy, well, it's pretty clear that the Chinese ambitions are not limited to land, and obviously the sea routes are very important to them, also because of they claim it's basically to improve their trade routes and for commercial interests and all those other things, for resources, for markets, directions all the way right up to Africa. But how does the Sagar initiative come in the way of this ambition, or in a sense create an atmosphere where a rules-based protocol will prevail?
Look, that is the ideal world.
Okay.
The Chinese are violating the UN Convention on the Law of the Seas
Yes.
right across the Pacific Ocean with all its neighbors. I mean, you may start with Japan, Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, everybody. They've got disputes. They're disputing the land border, their maritime boundaries. And in every case, they are violating the law of the seas. This is why the Quad becomes important.
Yes.
You cannot allow China to dominate the what we call as the Indo-Pacific region.
Yes,
Don't
indeed.
forget that a fairly large proportion of our trade goes to the west coast of the United States, and very large markets which we have developed, notably Japan and South Korea. And now it's going to be Vietnam. So as I said, we've got the Quad, but it is extremely important that maritime cooperation we develop with these neighbors with whom China has differences. Now, right next door to us, China is looking for a base at Chok Phu, a port in Myanmar. And Myanmar is resisting, and I think that the Admiral will tell you that we've done well, and we'll be providing Myanmar one of our refurbished submarines, which is
Okay.
something I know, having been ambassador there, they never even dreamt they would be having. So I think the idea is to give them a sense of pride in joining us.
Okay.
And as I see it, as long as we have the Vietnamese, the Indonesians, and Myanmar on our side, those sea lanes are safe.
All right.
And certainly the Quad will do a lot.
Fair
as
enough.
far as
Let's-
we are concerned on the Straits of Malacca.
Ambassador, beg your pardon, Admiral Sinha, about the Quad. Now we can see that The US, Japan are involved with India in Malabar exercises. We hope that Australia too will join. That will be the whole quad. But as Ambassador Parthasarathy was pointing out, Indonesia, Vietnam, Singapore, Australia, these are also countries that are actually involved with India in naval exercises to some extent. So, all this, is this, mere symbolism, or how does this play out in the Indian Ocean?
Well, it might look like a symbolism now, but it is going to play out. If you recall, there was a meeting of Quad Plus, and we had number of these countries. So therefore, the plan is very much on the cards. Malabar exercise, there all likelihood that Australia would be invited this year by the Indian Navy. So that will make the Quad. But subsequently, I don't think this Quad, my sense is that Quad will not remain a four-nation stuff. It might become Quad Plus. I would think that France, Singapore, and as Ambassador said, Vietnam and Indonesia, and possibly Philippines. Because if you seen recent news there from Philippines, they had stopped allowing the Americans to come and make a base there. And they have cancelled that order, and they have permitted the American ships to come there and operate out of their ports, the warships. So I think, there is, all in all, there is some kind of cooperation amongst all these people. If they find that there is a navy consisting of US, India, Japan, and Australia, they get a lot of, what is called the confidence.
Yes.
And therefore, all these fellows will come and join. France is a very big navy, and it's got an interest in the Indian Ocean. They've got some of their islands in the southern Indian Ocean. So I think this is one of the reasons why Mauritius is also becoming very important. Because we may have to operate and see the sea lanes of communication emanating out of South America and those from Africa. And, the straits in the Madagascar, all these are very important. And with those countries, the Indian government is doing a lot. Our foreign policy has really been very good, and our diplomats have been very hyperactive in making sure that whatever we lacked in the past, let's get to some speed before China and Pakistan jointly become a nuisance to this whole world.
All right. And to what extent, Ambassador Parthasarathy, does our military, or let's say our strategic cooperation, help with our development assistance and our development cooperation? Because, we started the program by talking about development cooperation, and the Prime Minister is saying that it's really based on respect for our partners. We seek nothing from them. We are, the central motivation is sharing our development ideas and development agenda.
Look, it's really, take for example, Myanmar, which is which has a 1640-kilometer land boundary with us. It also has a long boundary with China. Now, China gives them much more assistance than we do, but we do not interfere in their internal affairs.
Yes.
China is, in fact, fostering insurgencies by tribes in Myanmar against the central government and using that as leverage to secure influence and take control of their mines and so on, especially for precious metals and diamonds and rubies in Myanmar. So China has this quality of or sort of quest for resources.
Yes.
It's obsessed with resources. And this is something we need to play an advantage to, because we cooperate, we share, we have joint ventures, but we are not aggressively looking for the natural resources of the others. And that is a quality which is appreciated. But coming back to what I said, in this neighborhood, I would see after this submarine supply goes through to with Myanmar, we build up that entire East Coast region. Another point I want to mention is, regionally we are a member of the BIMSTEC grouping, which includes all the Bay of Bengal states,
countries,
plus Nepal and Bhutan, because they're landlocked states dependent on the Bay of Bengal. Now, I think we have activated that in the past, and I attended one of the meetings which was organized by our government with the army chiefs of these countries. I think the Admiral will be better positioned but I think we should get the naval chiefs together
Okay.
and talk on common maritime terms, linking BIMSTEC together as a regional grouping. After all, it is the Bay of Bengal Association
All right.
for security on the Bay of Bengal. Last point,
Yes.
we have settled our maritime boundaries with everybody.
Okay.
China is fighting with everybody for maritime space, trying to grab territories from the other. And that's where all these organizations, BIMSTEC, Quad, all will come into play because China may have much greater resources and naval power,
Yes.
but people don't trust it. It's a question of diplomatic trust and working cooperatively with these states. And I think we've done well. The Navy has done us proud. They hold these, I think they had my admiral
indeed.
tell you, these Milan exercises with all these countries. The naval get-togethers are very useful. And imagine, it's a question of combining hard and soft power. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that.
Indeed. So that's the difference, Admiral Sinha, with regard to, let's say, an expansionist power and a responsible power like India. But if we have to focus now on India's infrastructure in the Indian Ocean region, you feel that it's adequate? How much more do we have to build it up? Where would we do that? Would it be in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands? How would you see it?
Ambassador mentioned right in the beginning that Sagar project of Prime Minister Modi, which says security and growth for all in region.
Yes.
So let's remember that development is for growth, and that has to be secured. So it's not that Prime Minister Modi has not said about security. In fact, the first letter in that acronym is security. So unless you secure the trade and growth, it is liable to interception, it's liable to stoppages and restrictions, free and open sea. That is why we have been saying free and open sea. As far as the infrastructure is concerned, the Sagarmala project, which is going on very rapidly, and it requires a separate talk. Sagarmala will improve the infrastructure of building ports in all over country, minor ports and the major ports, and the roadways inside within the connectivity by the roadways. That is number one for trade. The second point is that as far as Andaman Nicobar is concerned, the development work is already in progress. The Island Development Authority, which was lying dormant for many years, has been activated, and now the Honorable Home Minister, Honorable Defence Minister, Sri Rajnath Singh, when he was Home Minister, he was the chairman. So Home Minister is the ex-officio chairman, and the LG of Andaman Nicobar, he is the deputy chairman. And there is, the container port, the strengthening of runway, extending the runways for taking more fighter aircraft. The PATI is already operating out of the Port Blair airfield and Nicobar airfield, Car Nicobar, during this, the last time that we had the US fleet there. Since then, PATI has been operating, and they have actually been monitoring the traffic, and we have intelligence sharing arrangement with these countries that the ambassador was mentioning about in the Quad, and their data is passed online. So I think that infrastructure and equipment, interoperability, all these things are a great work in progress. So
Wonderful.
I think that we are not doing badly at all. Yes, we have to speed up. We have to catch up because time is running out.
Yes.
It's a very short time that we have as far as the maritime infrastructure is concerned. But 7-8 years later, China will be a different country if he is allowed to be as assertive as he is now.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Admiral Sinha and G. Parthasarathy, for being with us.